which means that you're most likely looking for something, searching for something. And at rock bottom, it's probably that you're searching for something more of you, so searching for something that could release you. Now, what does that actually mean? Do you actually believe, do you actually still believe that there's more to you than is showing up right now, despite all the success, despite all the outer stuff that's happening and looks good, and people, maybe even envy you or think you have a great life and see lots of things going right. But you're someone who, on the inside, you know there's a mismatch between how you sense you could be showing up and living this precious one life here that you're living now versus the way you're showing up. So if this is you, then I'd like you to really think about, I'm suggesting you really think about what it is that keeps you searching why you're here right now, scrolling through things, and what it is that you keep hoping for, that you keep looking for, and even more importantly, why you're not finding that real thing that you're looking for. So, and I'm going to be referring to my notes because I want to make sure to cover this for you. There is something that part of you believes and part of you doesn't. Part of you believes that there's more of you that can show up, and part of you doesn't. And why don't you? Because you've been looking for a long time. And although you've been going up in increments or in a spiraling up, you still sense, hey, there's something more here. This can't be all there is. With all the efforting and the intellect and the searching and the willingness, and yet you still feel like disconnected. You still feel like things aren't, you don't resemble anymore that wonderful little girl walking down the street, fascinated by everything she sees and engrossed in her world and amazed and curious about her world. That feels so far away. Now, yeah, we're not little children anymore. And yet, there's more of that in you. And what would happen for you if that more curious, creative part of you got released? How would your decisions about work change? How would your major relationships change? How much would your heart open so that you could actually see the world, so that you could actually feel your partner, so you could actually sense into what your business or your work needed? What would happen to you if more of that were happening to you again? Because it used to. What I'm saying is that once you access the the right specific part of you, your actions become obvious and natural. Your actions become obvious and natural. So right now, when we're obstructed, what happens is we we know we should do something, but we can't get ourselves to do enough of it. Like you've hired this fantastic business coach, and you're not really doing everything you could be doing. You're not doing enough of it. You're not doing it with ease. There's a lot of anxiety with it, perhaps, or she says do 20 of this and you do 3, or you slack off a little, you look at your schedule, you promise to work on it and you don't. Those kinds of things, you're you're someone who's going to get it done, but looking at how you're doing it, or maybe you're doing it diligently and it's so much pressure on you. It's like, oh my gosh, like all of your energy is way, way, way up here, right? It's like, like that, the breath, the energy, you can feel this. And yet, when when you're accessing more of you, which doesn't come from telling people doing this to you or you doing that to you. It can't, because then you get like this, right? When when you access more of you, ideas, different ideas start to flow. So I'm going to give you two examples, one from me, one from a client. So mine is very recent. We're having people do fire mitigation around here because it's a problem where I live, and also do some things with a house. Now, you know what it's like to have people around fixing things and making noise while you're working or just trying to live. And there was one particular day when there was a lot of hammering and just the whole house is moving, and I don't know what it was, like a jackhammer, it felt like. And I work a lot on Zoom. And yes, I was wearing headphones, and the noise was down from the client's point of view, but it was just much, much, much harder on me. And I had a fairly light day, not too many clients that day. It was way more noise than I thought it was going to be. And I just tried, I kept getting myself kind of centered and present, like I was going to be centered and present no matter what was happening. And I was doing really good work. I was accomplishing what I wanted to do for me and, most very importantly, for them. But this took a lot out of me. And I think I took a walk, and I didn't think about it. I knew that it was a lot. It was a lot of stress. And when I came back, there was one client left. And I've somebody I've been working with for a long time. We have a great relationship. And I realized that I could ask her if we could change to tomorrow. Now, since I never do this, and since she's somebody that would tell me, and I would be very careful about who I would do this with. There's some clients I wouldn't ask. I knew that she would be honest, and I knew that we could do it either way. And she said, sure, absolutely. Same time tomorrow, yes. And my whole being just relaxed, because everything I had been doing inside myself to meet this challenge, it was so much. And I was exhausted. And yes, I could have done a session, but I would have been much better. It was much, much better the next day. And we went very deep. But why hadn't that obvious solution occurred to me yet? Well, number one, I can count on one hand the times I've done that in 45 years. So it's not, I don't like to do it, but also I think more importantly, the obvious things don't occur to you when you're so heated and stressed. It's more a focus on getting it done than looking at a bigger picture. And when you look at a bigger picture, then things start to slow down. Things start to relax. Now, that bigger picture included what was possible for me. It included all my innate abilities to respond to a problem. Now, I was responding to a problem, but look at how I was responding to that problem. It wasn't gritting, but it took a lot, right? It doesn't have to be that way, but I wasn't in any place where I could, excuse me, where I could get to that place inside me. So once again, once you access the right part of you, excuse me, your actions become obvious and natural. And then now let me thank you so much for, I see your comments and I see you here, and I am so appreciative of you all being here. Thank you. Makes it more fun for me, and I hope it's of value to you. So now I'm going to tell you a story. Actually, some of you here know this person. So I had a wonderful, wonderful client, so smart, so good at what she did, at what she does. And like somebody that if you give her something, if you had something to do and you gave it to her, it's like, well, it's going to be fantastic. She's going to attend to every detail. She's going to have even better ideas than I gave her, and she's going to like run with it. That's the kind of person she is. And she was working in a corporate setting. And there was this one woman who was, she was an outside person, a consultant, and one person in the corporation was, you know, real awful to her. Didn't like her, tried to undermine her, did undermine her. And this really prevented, we'll call her Sue, this really prevented Sue from doing her job, which, as I told you, she's so excellent at. And Sue tried to think of all kinds of things. What could she do with the hierarchy of the corporation? How could she work around this woman? How could she placate this woman? Like, there were so many creative ideas that she had about this, about how to handle this obstructive woman. And yet, a woman was still making her crazed inside and really making her work or her contribution to the corporation so much less than it could be because she was standing in her way. And of course, this made Sue really angry and distressed. As she worked through to get to the natural, the right part of herself, as she not so much trying to figure it out anymore because she'd done a lot of that, but accessing a different, quieter, wiser, more whole part of her. She had this fantastic idea. Now, it may seem obvious now, but you know that when you're super stressed, these kinds of things don't come easily. And what she did was invite this woman, she called her Stiletto Heels, invite Stiletto Heels to collaborate to collaborate with her on a project sincerely, not as an intervention or a strategy, but sincerely. And over time, what this did was create a relationship between the two of them, between Sue and Stiletto Heels, where Stiletto Heels, believe it or not, became Sue's strongest advocate in the corporation and really supported her and helped her and moved her ahead, helped her move her projects ahead, gave her that support from inside the company, and that allowed Sue to really, really do what she does best. Now, again, these ideas, my idea to change my client, her idea to collaborate more, you say them and you think, okay, that's obvious, but it's not obvious when you're crazed inside. It's not because you can't stop the heat, you can't stop the perseveration of the self-criticism and the anger and the frustration. Once you're able to do that though, in a real way, not in a let's put a band-aid on this, but in a real way, then there's more of you starts to just bubble up. And I'll finish with this. What my clients say individually, all over the place, not even in the same room, they say something like, I've just found myself doing that, or I just found myself saying that. And it felt so good, and I didn't prepare it, and it just felt like me. So again, when you're really, truly coming from your real self, that's the kind of thing that'll happen because that's what's really inside you. When you have to create it and maneuver yourself and kind of fit yourself in or like understand it and then go from there, you get tight and you don't have access. So next time today, when you start to feel either tight or loose as you're trying to solve a problem, notice what comes from the tightness. Notice what comes from the looseness and who you actually are when it's coming through. What does that feel like? And if it's not coming through, notice that too. Again, thanks everybody for coming. It's really nice to see you. and I'll see you next week.